So today we're going to be making hot cross buns, me and my mom. Hot cross buns is a traditional Guyanese pastry that's usually made during Easter time, and Easter is coming up, so that's what we're working through today. What you're going to do is you're going to get 7.5 cups of flour. We used Robin Hood flour. Normally we use red rose flour. Red rose is what she would recommend. Robin Hood is our alternative that we had to use because of the quarantine. Flour is kind of scarce right now. Then we're going to use 2¼ cups of brown sugar. You can use any brand of brown sugar that you want. We used Red Path brown sugar. You're gonna need 1 cup of butter. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of yeast. You're going to need 2 cups of carnation milk, which we just transferred into this glass. And then you're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We used Grace extract, vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon of grounded up nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. We just have it whole here to show you our ingredients, but you are going to need to make sure that they're grounded up before you add them to your hot cross buns. And just so you guys see the grounded up cloves and nutmeg and cinnamon that we used, here is the brand that we use. It's Irie International, and I'll leave a link in the description to all of the ingredients that you see today to make it easier to find, but this is how it looks grounded up. It's just a little bit easier. You don't have to grind it up yourself. I mean, you can if you want to, but you can also buy it pre-ground up. Next, we have 1 cup of raisins. You want to make sure that you chop up your raisins instead of leaving them in whole pieces so that your hot cross buns has a bite of raisin in each piece. Alright, step 1 of the process, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your 2 tablespoons of yeast and you are going to add it to 1/4 cup of lukewarm water, and you're just going to leave it aside to rise. This is going to make sure that your hot cross buns turns out very nice and fluffy, so we're just going to put that aside for now. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, cinnamon, and nutmeg to the 7.5 cups of flour that we have here. So we already added the clove. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then last, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of grounded up nutmeg. We're just going to mix those dry ingredients together. Once we're done mixing them together, it's going to go inside of the cake mixer. So if you have an electric cake mixer, you want to make sure that your cake mixer is on low so that all your flour won't spew out. And you're going to slowly add all of the butter, which my mom just did, into the mix. So you're going to want to make sure that you leave it mixing until all of the butter is blended into the flour. Slowly into the mix, you're going to add the brown sugar. Mom's just using a brown wooden spoon to push in any of the flour from the sides to make sure that it doesn't spill over. Our yeast is about ready because it's risen and it's filled the bowl. That's what you want to wait for. Then we're going to add our carnation milk, our 2 cups of carnation milk, slowly to the yeast and stir in as we add. Then we're going to add 1 cup of lukewarm water also to the mix and continue stirring. Take off the mixer and add the mix of yeast very slowly. Some of it will start to spew, but don't be alarmed. It is okay and normal for it to happen. We're gonna add 1 cup of chopped raisins slowly to the blend. Then we're gonna slowly continue to add the yeast mixture. Something that we forgot to show was us adding the 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to the yeast, but you wanna make sure that you add that in as well. And you're going to take off your mixer every time you wanna add in some more of the yeast mixture. Once again, don't be alarmed if you see that your mixture, it might be popping out a little from the bowl. It's completely normal. Just to make sure that it's not falling out of your bowl by pushing it back in with a wooden spoon or even with your hands. When it gets very pulley, almost very paste-like, you know that you're ready to move on and you've reached the right consistency. Then what you're going to do is you're going to want to make sure that you put a little bit of flour on your cutting board. And the reason you want to add some dry flour to it is because it takes away the pastiness from the dough and helps it to rise. So you're going to leave it to rise for about an hour or until it doubles in size. And when you're kneading it, you want to make sure that your end product looks something similar to this. So now that it's risen, Mom is just kneading it some more, and then we're going to roll them into small doughs and then leave it to rise for another hour. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab and pull your hot cross bun mixture and then roll it in a ball like that, so it's just a nice round ball. And from there you're going to place it in an ungreased pan until it's all filled up. So this is where the cross part comes in of the hot cross buns, and this is how you make it. So you take a part of the hot cross buns dough and then you're going to just roll it in a long line, and you're going to place it over one of your buns. Then you're going to pull another piece off and once again roll it into a long line piece. Put it over your hot cross buns in the opposite direction. So that's how your product should look. That's what gives it its cross bun name. So here I just cracked 1 egg and I added 1 tablespoon of 2% milk, and I'm just gonna whisk this together, and this is gonna act as the glaze for the hot cross buns. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush into the egg and milk mix and glaze it over top of the hot cross buns. So now that your buns are all crossed and glazed, you're going to let it rise for about an hour. And make sure that you're putting your hot cross buns to rise in a place that's cool, in a place where there's not going to be any heat. Alright, so you want to make sure that you set your oven to 350, and then you're going to transfer your hot cross buns inside of the oven. We're going to put it inside of the oven for 35 minutes and let it bake, and then we're going to come back and check it once it's done. The hot cross buns just came out of the oven, and now we're going to put a glaze on top. The glaze is brown sugar mixed in with warm water. The glaze is completely optional, but we prefer the glaze over ours just to give it that added sweetness. There you have it, your hot cross buns for Easter. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this recipe. I'm going to post in the description box below all of the ingredients that we used. And if you enjoyed it, if it was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.